give you a little backstory for those of you that don't know me. My amazing day was December 15th, 2008. Now, 2008 was a big year for me. I had a lot go on. I married my husband and had my entire life ahead of me, but there was one little problem. I was over 300 pounds. This is me on my honeymoon in Mexico. It was a, sorry, I get a little emotional. Excuse me. It was a great day for me. I felt beautiful, but there was a struggle that I know a lot of us face, being overweight. The seatbelt extender on the plane, not being able to climb up some of the ruins in Mexico, and you would think that something like that would be it, and I would have said, I need to get this under control and change. But it wasn't for me. I continued on, that was in June, so then I think it was about November, I had gone to see my doctor, and she said, well, you have high blood pressure. Are you on medication? I said, no. Has it ever been high before? I said, no. So she took it again, and she said, yeah. She said, this isn't good. And for whatever reason, I guess I was living in a bubble. And I thought that my weight was not going to affect my health. And then to have it put right there in front of my face like that was just an eye-opener for me. And I left the doctor's office that day, and I got in my car, and I cried. I was ashamed, and I was embarrassed, and I felt so hopeless. And that even wasn't it for me. It took me a couple more weeks, I continued to eat terribly, and I was so upset, and, burned the food, and I remember it like it was yesterday. My husband and I were sitting there, and I was eating sausage cheese balls. Now, if you're from the South, you know what those are. They're tasty little, balls of goodness, and I think I was on my 5th plate, and I just felt so full, and I looked at my husband, and I said, I'm going to Weight Watchers. He goes, now? I said, yeah. And I went that day, and that was my first meeting, and I never looked back. I weighed in that day 328 pounds. And I'm telling you, friends, to look at that and say, gosh, I need to lose half of myself. It's a huge undertaking. And what I liked when I came here is they didn't say, you need to look at how much weight you have to lose. They said, let's start small. Let's look at 5%. Okay, 5% came. They said, all right, now let's look at 10%. 10% came. Let's focus on 5 pounds. Anybody can lose 5 pounds. I just happen to have lost 5 pounds a lot of times. But, I didn't actually set my weight goal until well into my journey because that wasn't what it was about. It was about the small goals. And I think a lot of people, their misconception about weight loss is, okay, well, here's what I need to do. I got to go out and I got to buy grilled chicken and broccoli and, we're just going to change everything. I can never have McDonald's. I can't have this. I can't have that. And that's just not the way that it works. That's not sustainable. So the nice thing about Weight Watchers is, I had a daily points allowance. Now, I could choose to do whatever I wanted with that points allowance, but I didn't have to cut things out. I didn't have to feel like I was on a diet. If I wanted a Big Mac, I could have a Big Mac. Now, I couldn't have a Big Mac, a large fry, and a double cheeseburger appetizer like I used to. But I could still have that Big Mac, and that was all right. It's just been so amazing to me. And I always, I tell Weight Watchers, I'll come and speak, and I'll sing your praises anywhere because, they've really got a good setup here. And I try every diet, I would say, under the sun. Countless ones, I won't name names, that's not But getting the goal and achieving that, it's just such a good feeling. I mean, if you felt that feeling, it's just a sense of accomplishment. If you haven't felt that feeling, know that you can. Like, you're in the right place to do that. And, you got to work the plan. And it's not always easy. And that's another misconception I think people think. They think she must be perfect, and she must track the points, to the T, and she probably never uses her activity points. Well, that's not true. I'm not perfect. But you know what? No one is. And I think the biggest thing is, if you can understand that and really learn, when you have, let's say, a mess up or something doesn't go the way that you planned, you just say, well, okay, that's all right. Let's start over with the next meal, and let's see how we can learn from that experience. last year I ran a marathon. 26.2. This woman couldn't even walk up the stairs without getting winded. And I ran a marathon. I mean, the accomplishment of that will stay with me for the rest of my life. It's just, I can't tell you, friends. I mean, get out there and live. Get out there and live, because I wasted so much of my life letting this weight control me. And it's just, it doesn't have to be that way. But I thank you guys so much for letting me come. Does anybody have any questions that I'm an open book?
Like, I think I have everything down and I'm learning kitchen and everything, but the hardest part for me is getting out there. Like, how do you start? How do you get into that routine?
That's a very good question.
When you lose breath and you're like, oh, I can't do this.
That's a good question. And another thing, I didn't start out on day one, running 10 miles. You have to, here's what I tell everyone. Everyone's like, what sort of exercise should I do? Do what you love and do what you can do. If it's walking, get out and walk a little. If it's bicycle riding, you don't have to get out and ride 10 miles. You got to start somewhere. And for me, it was, I actually didn't do any regular exercise the first 9 pounds, to give you an idea how much of it is food. I don't really recommend that. I wish I had been in the gym prior to that, but just for self-conscious reasons, and things like that, I wouldn't get in the gym, and then I discovered spinning. And I loved it. It's in a dark room. They have like neon lights. It's great. Nobody can see when you're pouring sweat and about to die. So that's kind of where I got started. And from that, I started doing boot camp classes. And I'll remember the first time I ever did that class, I was so terrified of that instructor. But you got to get outside of your comfort zone sometimes.
I like that dark room thing. I only know just fitness because they have a dark room.
Yeah.
But I like the dark room part.
I'm telling you, I'm like, this is great. But yeah, I just say do what you find enjoyable. Not everyone's a runner, and that's fine. But anything you can do is better than nothing.
Other than running a marathon, which, oh my gosh, is huge, what would you say are some other positive things that have come to you in your life because of your accomplishment of losing all the weight? How has it impacted your life and other things?
There's a lot of things. Let me just think of a few things. Let's see. No blood pressure medicine. I never had to go on this. That's huge. My doctor, my husband and I, will eventually start a family in the next couple of years, and I now won't be a high-risk pregnancy. So I won't be endangering my life or my future children's lives. Being able to shop in stores that aren't plus size, I didn't realize how many great stores there are. Because obviously, I remember that first time I got to go into the non-plus size. That's huge. Like, that opens up a lot of doors. You just don't even know what. There's just a lot of stuff that you don't think about. We flew up to New York to do the People magazine shoot, and I didn't need a seatbelt. It's pretty cool. I don't have to worry about, am I going to fit in a chair, or is the chair going to hold me? And sometimes you'll catch me. I'll still be like sitting down all easy, like I'm going to break the chair. Just I can do whatever I want, and I'm not held back. So I think that's the biggest thing.
What's your guilty pleasure food, and how do you?
Well, and I will tell you, for those of you that don't know, I'm extremely open about what I do, what I eat. If anyone cares to look me up on Facebook, I have a Facebook page at CNS became half of what I used to be. I also blog where I get probably a little more. I share probably a little more than I should, but that's a very good question. I would say it's evolved a lot because my big indulgence used to be a Big Mac. I always said I could never picture not ever having a Big Mac, but now my tastes have kind of changed a little bit. Where I don't crave things like that. But I would say. I do. I love key lime pie, and I'm extremely thankful. My aunt actually, for Thanksgiving, prepared the Weight Watchers key lime pie. Now, it's, you know, not like the real thing, but it's close enough. Close enough where I'm like, okay, you know, I can still have this, but I would say that's probably my biggest.
How did you get through plateaus where the scale wasn't moving, or, you know, sometimes it's very hard to push through those phases, especially as the closer you get to goal, the harder it is to.
Yes, I'm telling you, I would say that those last 10 pounds were harder than the other 150. I think the biggest thing is you just have to look at what you're doing. Don't always let the scale rule your journey. When I would have a week where I was on point with my activity and my tracking, and I didn't go over at all, and I was expecting like 3-pound weight loss, and I'd get in here and it'd be like 0.2, and I'm like, are you kidding? But then you kind of have to stop and you say, you know what, that's 0.2 more than it was the week before, or if I stayed the same, all right, that's fine. You know what I did this week? I ate foods that were less fattening. I exercised. I made healthier choices. You have to focus on that and say to yourself, the big picture is you did things to make yourself healthier. So I always tell people, I'm like, don't let that scale fool you, because you know the choices that you're making, and if they're healthier, that's going to benefit you in the long run.
Did your husband ever play with you?
No, my husband has actually not ever done Weight Watchers. However, he's hiding that. As a product, though, of my doing the plan, and obviously the changes I made in our house and what I cook and where we go out to eat, he's lost about 60 pounds himself. So, that's huge for him too. So, and that's another thing is when you make the choices to become healthier, you're affecting your entire family. You're helping your spouse, you're helping your children not have to face chocolate is a huge problem. So I mean, it's amazing. And obviously now I get to go out and talk to all you guys and hopefully inspire you.
Do you set a weekly activity goal for yourself, or do you just try to do each day, a certain amount?
I don't. And because, like, when I'm doing marathon training or half marathon training or things like that, there's really not a need to because there's so much running. But I try to do a day goal. I try to get in at least 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week. Sometimes that doesn't always happen, and sometimes it's more than 30 minutes. But that's kind of, I do more of a days per week. I have a lot of things, and a wise guy once told me you can't eat what's not there. So I try to be sure that I've got things in the house, because it's all about pre-planning, it's all about setting yourself up. But I would say for me, I think one thing that I really like that in the house is onions, frozen pizza. It's uncured pepperoni. Half of that thing is 13 onions, which is, not full on the high side, but that's actually not bad compared to what most pizzas are. So like if I had to work late or, I get in, or honestly, I feel like I need something bad, I feel like I'm missing out, I'll pop one of those in the oven and eat that. So that's kind of, I'd say, my biggest one. And I do, I share a lot of that on my Facebook page. I take a lot of pictures of what I'm eating, and I put it on there, and recipes, kind of things that because we're all about simple in our house. We actually, my sister lives with my husband and I, so we're raising teenagers. I work full time. He works and goes to school, so we're on the go. So we have to have things that are, quick, very quick.
How did you deal with the resistance to the change in food?
Oh, well.
I try to cook healthy, and it's like I'm not enjoying a whole lot, but it really sucks when everybody else
glad
Cable
that,
told me how bad it is.
glad you brought that up. There's a couple. Now look over at this guy because I try not to point you out, but with teenage kids, I was like, okay. When I first started this, there was a lot of resistance from certain household members. I won't name any names. And I, even got a little guff, from other family members. But once the weight started coming off, and the weight started coming off for the family members, it got easier. I used to hear, oh, there's nothing in this house to eat, where are my chips and things like that. I think you just have to push through it in the beginning. It's tough, but push through it. They'll get used to it. My sisters, I said, live with my husband and I, and they are 5'1", 100 pounds soaking wet, never had any problems with their weight, and they are the pickiest folks I think I have ever met in my entire life. So a lot of times I'll keep something extra in the house that's easily cooked, so if they don't necessarily like what I cook that's healthy, they can make a sandwich or something like that. Because the biggest thing I think is don't let it, don't feel like you have to prepare bad food because maybe one meal you try, the family doesn't like it. Because really, you're helping out everybody in your house by preparing these things. Just if you have one that turns out bad, that's okay. Take that one off the repertoire and try another one. Little changes. It's all about little changes. Like we do ground turkey now, in place of meat. And I think when we first started doing that, we both were kind of like, it's kind of weird. But now, we love it and actually prefer it that way. So.
Maintenance, how'd you keep maintenance?
Boy. I'm going to be really honest with you. Maintenance is tough.
It is.
It's real tough.
I think it's harder than losing.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm not the only one then. I feel like I had become so good at losing weight. By the time I got to maintenance, I was thinking, oh, I'm a weight loss rock star. This is going to be easy peasy. No, it's not. But again, it's just like everything else. You got to work at it. So I think I'm still learning as far as maintenance goes. I'm not. I think I'm almost a year on maintenance, and I think it's just continually working at it. You can't get down if you don't get it right. The first couple of times, and you have to tweak it and everything. But just always working on it, never giving up.
How long were you on the plan before you hit a lifetime?
A whopping 3 years and 3 months. That's a long time. But you know what? It was perfect for me. I was really glad that I took my time. It seemed like a long time, but gosh, it feels like, it went by in a flash. So don't let that, I know a lot of people, myself included, I wanted that weight to come off overnight. And unfortunately, it didn't come on that way, and it's not going to come off that way. And that's okay. Everybody's journey's different. Some folks get there sooner. I think if I'd been a little more diligent, certain times, it would have been faster, but it's okay. I'm fine. I learned and, got it off in a healthy way, and I'm happy about that.
I need some snack ideas. Most of the time, in the afternoon, I come home and I'm in traffic for like an hour and a half. And I know I'm in traffic for that long, so by the time I leave to get home, I'm starving. And then I still have to cook and et cetera. So I'm eating as I'm cooking. And I try to bring fruits, but that really doesn't fill me up or satisfy me from 4:30 to 6:30 by the time I get home.
I would say that's a big problem for me also. For whatever reason, I'm pre-programmed that when I get in that door, I have to have snacks, regardless of whether I'm hungry or not. I don't know why. But some of the things that I gravitate towards, I do pop chips, pre-portion them, do not open that bag and put it on the counter. Trust me, it's not safe. It's not safe at all. And it'll tell you 23 chips. Count it and don't count as you go. Because, You know, you're cooking and all of a sudden 23 turns into 44 and you wonder why you gotta, gain. You don't wanna do that. I really love carrot sticks and fat-free Thousand Island. I love that. Fruit obviously is great. But you want something a little more substantial. Something that I do if I'm on the go and you might even want to think about like before you get in the car. I love those little EAS protein shakes. They're, I think, like under 200 calories, and they've got, I want to say like 13 or 14 grams of protein. And if I'm gotta go somewhere quick and I don't have time to prepare snacks, I love to drink one of those, and that just really keeps me full.
Really good.
Yeah.
They're 13, I do those and they're 3 points.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't really beat that, and it.
Fills you up.
So
Is it a
maybe
powder you mix, or
no,
is it-
you
I
can
think
beat
it's
it.
19 proteins.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it really will fill you up. And they have it in chocolate.
Yeah, and they sell it at BJ's.
At the grocery store,
It's called Carb Advantage. I like the vanilla myself, but I think a lot of friends like the chocolate. But maybe get that for your ride home, and then you won't feel so ravenous when you get in the house. Yeah,
really hard.
it is, and especially when you let yourself get hungry like that, and when you're cooking, and all of a sudden you're in the pantry. So yeah, I would try something like that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, yes.
How did you lose so much weight and still look so amazing? I have gained and lost so many times that when I weigh, my arms weigh with me.
Well,
So
now,
how do you do?
okay, now, I got a little of that too. I'm wearing 3/4, so you can't tell. I think the biggest thing is and people always, ask me about that. And you don't know what your body's going to do. And, I was so overweight for so long. Things aren't perfect. I'm certainly not going to be doing any nude modeling anytime soon. But they're much better than they were full of all the fat, So I always tell people strength training I think is great. Running, I somehow got these legs. I don't know where they came from. I hated my legs. It was my biggest downfall. I never wear shorts. I hated them. Now I love them. So I just say, try to get in that activity. Try to, do some strength training. There's a lot of stuff that you can do at home. There's a lot of strength training DVDs that you just use your body weight and do, in the privacy of your home. And I love to do that myself.
So bands are good, the resistance bands.
Yeah.
Those will help tone.
Definitely. So, but I always tell people, I'm like, don't let, you worry about, the way your skin's going to look affect your weight loss journey.
That's a good problem to have.
Exactly, yeah. I would rather have loose skin than skin full of
I got a question. How do you get over the psychological humps, I know starting now, of where you really want to lose? You got your mindset to lose, and you go at it, and then you gain a little. And trying to do exercise, it's normal to gain when you do strength training, but this getting on the scales once a week, I'm trying to stay off of it except for once a week because it causes a psychological upheaval. It really does. To get on in the morning and you're a pound heavier than you were the day before, and then you get on the next day and you're 2 pounds lighter than you were the day before. No rhyme nor reason to it, but just to stay upbeat through all the violent changes you do with weight that you really want to get off. That's always the measure, weight or BMI or whatever you come up with. And it's always a fluctuating thing, and you're busting your butt trying to get the weight off. There's a psychological up and down that's hard to manage. It really is.
I think you really hit the nail on the head there. The biggest thing I can tell you is stay off that scale, and don't let that scale rule your journey. For whatever reason, our bodies are giant freak shows. And sometimes the things that they do, and sometimes I want to be like, is the scale broken? I'm really not sure what's going on here. But you have to know that what you did that week is healthier for you. So even if you're showing up a little bit, maybe your muscles are retaining water. There's a lot of different, you might have had something that had a little higher salt content right before you weighed that you didn't plan on. So don't let that rule you. And I know it's hard. It's hard because you get down and I'm the same way. I struggled with that a lot because then I'd be like, well, it doesn't matter, so let me eat, all this junk over here to make myself feel better, but at the end you don't.
Yeah, really tackle it when you're trying as hard as you can, and you're changing all you can, and you still have that yo-yo, measurement.
Yeah.
Like I say, stay off the scale is probably the best thing to do. Don't look at it when you get here either. But, the psychological yo-yo.
I had a crying bench yesterday because of what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm not changing.
Yeah. It's, I know it's hard. I mean, I know it is. But the only thing that you can do is just keep going. Just keep trying. I know that it's hard, and I've been there. I still am there.
Well, I know you had to be there because I know what you did. You had to go through that. Like I say, when you start out high, you got plenty to lose, but you got a lot more trauma to go through too because you're trying so hard.
I think you have to sit down at the end of the day and you know you tried. And you've just got to stay positive and know that what you're doing is going to be better for you in the long run than what you were doing. So I think that's a really good thing to bring up. Yes.
Do you watch food shows on TV?
I particularly don't care for them. However, my husband thoroughly enjoys watching food, and I've had to tell him, I'm like, look, okay, we gotta stop this because what is that one you love? That Guy Fieri, he's going around.
Diners,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna go there,
he's like, oh, I gotta have this, I have that, and I'm sitting there going, we can't have that.
That's
Just
the
settle
kind of
down.
way it is in our house too. I love that show.
I say, why torture yourself? And I told him, I said, I think I'm actually gaining weight watching this. Let me turn it off. But I will watch, things like, I love that Hungry Girl show. I think she's got some real great stuff. I like to watch that. One of the Dean boys, he's got a good show, Not My Mama's Cooking, where he's lightening some things up. I love those kind of people because I think that that's helpful to us, to see ways that we can eat a little better but not feel like, we're on a diet.
I heard Bobby Flay has a new one come. I think it starts this week, and it's a lower weight cooking.
Oh, see, that's great. And that's what we need more of, is what we need more of. We need simple, healthier options. So I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully that's working.
What's it like to do the photo shoot for people?
My head, I couldn't even fit in the door. That was really cool, and it was so funny because they're very secretive about everything you have to keep everything hush hush. You can't tell a soul kind of a thing. And I didn't even know that I was actually going to be in the issue until I was in New York in November. And I got in the car. I assumed they would take, maybe 10 folks up there, photograph them, and then pick, who they wanted. And we got in the car to head to the salon the first day, and I looked over at one of the other gals, and I said, when do we know if we're going to be an issue? And she looked at me, and she goes, that's why you're here. I didn't want to count my chickens before they hatched. It was an interesting experience because I'm extremely critical of myself, and I always tell people I never saw this person. When I looked in the mirror, I had reverse anorexia. I always thought I was a lot smaller, and I never saw my size until I would see pictures, and even losing the weight. There are times where I have to stand in front of the mirror because it takes your mind a long time when you're used to, this to catch up to what's going on. So that was huge for me to see that. I think it turned out well. It was a really cool experience. Really cool. I felt like $1 million.
Were you overweight as a child?
Yes. I always joke that I came out of the womb overweight. I know that's not exactly true. I think I started noticing that I was overweight when I started school, kindergarten, first grade. I had a wonderful Southern granny growing up, and that woman was always in the kitchen. She'd start with breakfast. So she had the dishes cleaned up for breakfast. She'd start baking the cake, and then she'd cook lunch. And the woman cooked some some darn good food. So, growing up, I didn't have, my parents weren't overweight, so they didn't really, instill, I guess, the right eating habits, because they didn't need to, have them themselves. So, my brother and I both, were overweight. Love my granny to death, but somebody should have maybe said, I don't think you need that third slice of cake. But yeah, so that's huge for me. I'm really passionate about childhood obesity because I think that it's where it kind of starts for a lot of folks. And for me, it was so hard because I had 23 years of bad eating habits to try to change, and it's hard. It's very hard.
Is there just a sentence or two that when things would get the best of you or people would get the best of you, that you would just say over and over to yourself in your head?
There are a few, and one of my favorites is actually a Bible verse, and it's, I believe it's Nehemiah. I'm doing a great work right now, and I cannot come down. And I don't know, if you know that story, but basically, that really helps me a lot. And I'd say, you know what? I'm going to stay up here on this ladder, no matter what you're saying or what you're doing, or you're trying to bring me down. I'm up here on this ladder, and I'm not coming down until I'm done. That's a good one. Don't be shy.
So how long were you at your heaviest and how old were you when you started?
Let's see. I was 24 when I started, and my heaviest recorded weight, because I didn't get on the scale much back then, was 328, and I think that I was at that for probably, I lost my mother very tragically, and I put on about 100 pounds right after that, and it kind of, I think I kind of topped off over 300 pounds, but I'd say I was that heavy for at least a year. But it was all, it came on very quickly.
Yes. Excuse me, I came in late, so you may have already covered this.
Oh, that's all right.
What do you do when you, can you give us some hints when we tend to plateau and just stay and stay? And what do you do a little different to shake it up?
I think you're on the right track with that, trying different things. I'll try a different workout, something that I don't normally do. Like I said, I love to run, and I think that your body gets used to things sometimes, and so it's good to change things in the food department and in the workout department. Things for me, sometimes I won't eat all of my activity points, and sometimes I will. So sometimes I'll tinker with that a little bit and see if that, helps, and see what I see on that. Because unfortunately, it is a lot of trial and error in this, and especially when our bodies are saying, okay, that's it, we're not going to let go of any more weight. And you're like, well, yeah, you are. So I would say also like increasing your water and things like that. Just trying different things, whatever you can to break past it.
Did you, from the get-go, did you start exercising and doing physical, or did you wait a while?
I did. I waited about 90 pounds before I started getting into the gym, just because I was real self-conscious. I would go and I'd see all these
Skinny people.
fitness folks, running around and all that. And now, I love my gym. I've made some incredible friends there. So I think that's also important when you get in somewhere where you can, meet some people, and that's always, it's more encouraging to you to go there, because if you don't want to be there, you're not going to go there. So.
That's true.
Oh, I just want to say, well, I already told you I've been probably following you on Facebook and Twitter for the past 6 months, and I am truly inspired. And I want to say good luck for tomorrow on your chocolate.
I have a 15K I'm running tomorrow. Which is, it's going to be interesting, because I like to call December my hibernation month. So my activity doesn't quite, where it was. Thank you. Sometimes I wonder, and I started that just because people were always asking me, what are you doing? What are you eating? Things of that nature. www.down168lbs.wordpress.com. And that's something I just recently started. I needed somewhere to kind of put things out, so it's a lot more in depth about kind of my personal struggles and grief and things of that nature that I think folks have a lot of trouble with when they kind of lose weight and life happens, and your immediate response is to turn to the food to comfort you, and that's just never a good thing. So.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
I came in late and didn't know what your name was.
Oh.
Trying to find it. But you said it 3 times, so I got
Okay.
Well, then I'm like trying to read the sign up.
Oh.
I'm like, how do you spell?
I'm so funny because I'm like tired of hearing me, but I just put it out there and, hopefully anybody gets any big tips. If you've got a great recipe, please feel free to share it with me because I'm always looking for, new stuff. But I'm just a normal person. I'm a real person. I live a busy lifestyle, so I like things that are healthy.
Well, it's definitely good to see, like, sometimes you have to be able to see somebody who's done it to really believe that it can be done. And that's in many different aspects of life as well. So, thanks for coming.
So awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Where did you meet Jennifer Hudson? I see on your Facebook.
I met her. She did a book signing last year at the Kennesaw Weight Watchers.
Oh, okay.
And I got to go out, and I love the picture of her when I showed her this and told her how much weight I've lost. She was like, and such a nice gal, and I think she's a big inspiration too, because she's really rocking this maintenance.